a fallen star. This North American team is against the ropes, and aside from victory in Indonesia, they have fallen on troubled times. Vast in experience and high in profile, this is a chance to get back on top. And with a roster this gifted, it's all about execution. This last-minute replacement were runners-up at the Birmingham Major and have been gifted a glorious opportunity to grace the final event of the DPC. Nothing short of top 4 here would ensure them a place at the International. But with the green wall behind them, everything is possible, making their 7th appearance on the pro circuit.
As a last-minute replacement, Optic certainly has looked quite good. Evil Geniuses, their roster has been like barely a week old, so very curious to see where they will end up today. This matchup is very exciting for a couple of reasons, obviously, and we're going to talk about all those reasons. And I think one of the first ones to mention, Trent, is PPD versus EG. Surely.
Yes, this is a classic NA matchup, all NA, all day. That's why we have 3 Europeans and 1 North American here to roughly balance out how many North American players are playing in this matchup. So kind of an even ratio going on here. But
a lot of Swedes.
Yeah, it's
a lot of Swedes.
A little bit of migration happening there.
Europe is doing their best to make NA relevant again, and it's looking pretty good, honestly.
The stimulus
all right,
package.
except EG. Maybe we'll go into that a bit later. Like, the rivalry is the most fun here. Sumail against PPD. They don't like each other that much. We all know that. They had a little bit of rough time in EG, got a little bit mad, kicked EG or PPD, and now it's his time to knock them out of the tournament.
Yeah, I hate winning. Man, Sumail really didn't enjoy that. So
kicking the best captain, arguably the best captain in the world. I don't know if I would do that.
So for people that you know maybe have come into the scene a little bit later than I guess most people, most EG fans, EG has won the International 2015, and they did that with PPD as their captain, and Sumail was in the team, and then they did 1 more year of the International after that, and unfortunately for Evil Geniuses, they came 3rd. I guess I say unfortunately, it's still a very good result.
And that was through open qualifiers too.
Yeah. Yes,
that's when they got back Artesia. I think that was the problem, so they couldn't win.
They
I believe that was.
Yeah, and they also they shuffled around Universe a couple of times, but he came back.
Yeah,
went to Secret. But almost full different EG. Only Sumail left after that, and or right now, and PPD was kicked / moved after TI6. I can say that moved, right? It was a very diplomatic way of saying it, because it was brought to us as moved to a CEO position or CFO position. But now, you know, back to playing up against his former team, and I think that is a very exciting part of this matchup.
Yeah, he's kind of built his own new squad, right? Like he's got like a couple of players on the up and up, CCNC, 3-3 being brought in, and then a couple old standards there like PyCat. So.
Yeah. A couple of rejects is making them look viable here.
Yeah. Thing is, it's the magic of PPD, and you can sort of feel how much he's enjoying this as well. I mean, I've talked to him on this Optic roster. He says winning with this team it feels a lot better than when he was back winning with EG. Because
of course he would say that.
Well, I mean, sure, but it's just for the comparison. You know, when he was on Evil Geniuses, this was a team that straight from the off they were just considered to be the best.
Yeah.
There was all this expectation. With Optic, he's absolutely sort of worked it up. They have switched around a couple of players a few times, and he's found this lineup that he's able to build up, and he's now able to get this success with. So this sort of momentum that this hype train that PPD's now on with Optic, it's something to be scared of. This lineup's pretty terrifying with PPD driving it.
And it was a long time coming too, because obviously Optic formed right after TI7, and they did have a bit of a roster shuffle in December with 3-3 coming in and Misery going to Evil Geniuses, by the way. who, by the way, is no longer an Evil Geniuses, so there's a lot of shuffling there as well. But Optic has been around for half a year, and they've been building up, steadily improving, and then they had their major break at Star Ladder. They won their first LAN. Pycat, after a decade-long career, won his first LAN, which is hard to believe,
It
actually.
really was. I think everyone was started like going through Liquipedia after that one. Like, really? That's it, man? Like, come on. But,
I mean,
he's up there now. It's
He
nice.
really is.
He's just playing like he's never played before. I don't know if that's necessarily down to because of maybe the fact he has got PPD sort of driving him a lot of times, Pycat. He's sort of led a lot of these sort of tier 2 rosters. He's never really had this sort of success. He's moved around the scene a lot. He's been all around the world, multiple regions this man's played in. But now on this team, his sort of the way he carries, he's looking like one of the hottest carries in the world right now. On certain games, he will single-handedly just blow away the opponents. For me, particularly, two heroes that aren't up there at the moment, it's the Morphling and the Luna. If you can get Pyke out the Morphling and Luna, if PPD can find a draft to put him on one of these two heroes, just looking at the recent games, there's an incredibly high chance that he will just solo carry the game at the end of the day, as long as they can create the space for him. And PPD, with his sort of captainship, is very good at making sure that Pycat gets his perfect game.
Yep. And then on the other side, there's Evil Geniuses Bulldog with your buddy S4.
Yeah, absolutely. This team, on paper when it came out, I was like, wow. It's exactly what they need. They need an S4 in there, give you that map understanding, and Fly to teach his kids some manners.
Smack him around a little bit.
Yeah,
Krav
exactly.
Maga.
But in the tournament, they looked pretty damn sloppy. They've only won 2 games, and that's against Spirit. And they did not look good.
No.
The games were a lot of fun to watch, super fun to watch, but it was not high-level Dota.
No, the 2 games that they won, as I'm sure you guys in the panel will cover most of the time, is it was Spirit making mistakes ultimately. And sure, there was some godly plays from
really
EG in some of the base defenses, which you cannot ignore. But for the most part, Spirit did make mistakes. So it's going to be interesting to see how EG do against a team like Optic Gaming that, for the most part, the losses they've had, I wouldn't say Optic Gaming have necessarily made a lot of mistakes. They've just been outplayed a lot of the time. So that's why I think this matchup's going to be hard for EG.
I mean, and it should be, right? Because they're a team that has only been together for a week. It would be pretty bad if they're, you can pull a team together from the streets and be able to beat a team that's been together for half a year, that has been steadily improving over the course of time.
Yeah, but these are veterans. So like these have played Dota for so long. They played with each other before. They all know, they've played against each other so much. They know how to play Dota. So I expected a lot more from them, honestly.
Okay.
So, but Optic, as has been said, they played really solid. Had a few hiccups, but they played much more refined Dota, honestly. And EG's, slop is the word.
So a young team like that, Trent, they have to play a lot, right? You have to grind a lot.
True.
Long games like they had against Spirit surely will set them up for success, or it will help them, because it will help them find their synergy, right?
I think in some ways that might be true, but again, these are veterans. So like we often say about like newer teams that they look shaky in that late game decision making. It's like, yeah, they haven't been there before, they haven't experienced that. These guys have all done that. They don't really need that. They need those like 20-minute stomps to be like, yes, we're clicking. This is like that experienced veteran Dota that we all know, and like they should have strategies that you would think would put them ahead, and they just clean out that game. I don't think they're looking to go for the miracle base defense kind of deal. Like, not exactly what EG was picturing.
Well, it
there.
was a really good one, though.
It was nice. But Spirit also just didn't buy and earn. So buy and earn, kids.
A standout player for me, by the way, for Evil Geniuses, as we jump into the draft, has been Crit. I find that he is back in his former self.
I wouldn't say necessarily every game. Crit sometimes has questionable games, but certainly for sure in that Spirit series, we sort of saw a glimpse of the EU Crit. The original Crit back in the day on OG, pulling out these incredible plays to single-handedly sort of turn the game around. So, we know he's definitely capable of it still, and we'll obviously as this game starts, we'll get to see if he's able to do it here for the EG fans.
Any heroes in particular that both of these teams will want to get their hands on?
I've got to say the 33 Lycan. That's the first one that comes to mind. Still in the pool. It's still in the pool. We'll see if EG take it out now, but that guy in the Lycan, when they're switched sort of around their roles like that, get Pycat on something aggressive like Night Stalker, but smart ban from EG with that Night Stalker ban, taking that away from Pycat's potential.
And Optic has been playing a little bit of Chen as well, so that's a hero they could ban. And they just ban it right there. So Lycan maybe? Beastmaster, okay.
Interesting.
I mean, now you got to be really, you do not want to give a team Beastmaster and Lycan. Especially Optic Gaming. So Evil Geniuses themselves, I don't know if they necessarily pick the Lycan up to block pick it, but they might need to. I don't know. What do you do? Like?
I mean, he's an extremely strong hero at the same time. I don't think you have to even consider it a block pick, right? Like, I think many teams are happy to have it, and instead they're just kind of looking towards some heroes that are decent against the Lycan in general, but also just strong.
I get it. I still think the Lycan just looks incredibly appealing for Optic.
They also haven't removed any sort of these like Beastmaster pairings. Like, there's still theoretically like the Coddle Beastmaster. Obviously, Coddle kind of fallen off a little bit.
Yeah,
but the
not a huge
Skywrath
fan of that.
Mage,
And they can put Lycan on any role as well for this team. Everyone plays it easily.
Yeah. I think the Lycan also, the Sand King's there, so maybe also the appeal to maybe look towards getting the Rubik for the team. Incredibly strong support.
Hey, taking a page out of Secret's book. Although we did see it played by other teams as well, but
Skywrath, yeah, it's been very popular this tournament, I think, and we're going to see more and more of it. It's just such a strong hero. If you get the farm on it, it's just so much damage, and you have the pair up with the Beastmaster, you ult, you kill someone, and that lane as well is super high pressure. If you're playing a Gyro there, you're just going to get stomped at. It's going to be pretty rough, and also when you hit level 20 on Skywrath, that global vision is just unbelievably powerful. So just a really good hero overall.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to believe. You watch these games and you see the Skywrath Mage almost every single time coming up with the most damage. Even when he's relatively poor in the game, still manages to output the most hero damage. So always happy to have him on my squad, I'd say.
Smart ban there. As soon as they see the Skywrath coming out, they do ban out the Morphling. Because with a Skywrath and a Morph in the game, there's always going to be this window sort of 40 minutes onwards where it doesn't matter what items you've got on your carry, they're just going to get blown up. If they core it out between the BKB charges, they're gone, deleted out of the game.
Instead of having a shotgun, you get like a bazooka instead.
Absolutely.
definitely.
I kind of wonder at what point you just start first phasing the Morphling, honestly. This hero just seems so incredibly strong. It's very difficult to counterpick.
We've seen that before, and it's been punished quite heavily by Liquid. Picked it up in the last major, I believe, and it was just hard counter to that hero. It's good, but you can't pick it that early. There's counters to that hero for sure.
Yeah, it feels like some teams are still to like kind of find that success, but it's true, we are kind of at the Supermajor, so everyone kind of knows their stuff here.
Yeah, I mean, there really was just no other for not just the Sky, but the fact that they got a Sand King and Gyro. These are like two of the super good heroes for Morphling to take over, of course. Morphling and Gyro just being able to single-handedly just casually deal 5k damage in a team fight without sort of having those big items that normally the Morph relies on to do the burst damage.
Both of the teams pick a decent amount of Rubik. They got good Rubik players as well, so we could definitely see a Rubik here. It's really good against Sand King. Stealing that Beastmaster ult as well, really good. That's definitely up there.
Super good as well, depending what Optic want to do with the offensive null field. Having that and the Ancient Seal, it's a lot of
Going back to the classic here, this is something that Fly has been playing a lot back in the days. Phoenix, very defensive, and Dazzle as well. Going back to the roots here, the hero got a little bit buff with the Poison Touch. Way lower cooldown now.
I like, and it, I mean, I know it's early days, but there's a Dazzle. You know, Optic have got a Skywrath. They may be leaning towards a magic-oriented draft. The Huskar could be a viable pick down the line for EG.
It is a bit worrisome against the Roar, but it's true. It is feasible. You know, you can't completely count it out.
That would be really rough, because doing the 2-1-2 laning, if you're having a Huskar against Beastmaster, Skywrath, you're going to get stomped. Huskar in lane is so weak.
Yeah, you need
so that I'm not sure about that.
I think in terms of the heroes that Podcat has been playing to allow the 3-3 Lycan, I could definitely see Beastmaster fitting in there. So I think in terms of like later in this draft, there is still a chance they go back for it.
Yeah, nothing like it's still definitely viable.
At the same time, though, that synergy between 3-3 and Zai has looked very good. So like having them in lane together is pretty important in terms of like working this Beastmaster Skywrath combo. And
the PPD Undying. He's liking this hero. We're seeing Optic go towards this one quite a few times recently.
Makes a lot of sense for him as well, because he's kind of feeding a little bit. So you just hit level 15, you'll go die with the Tombstone. Here you go, an extra one.
Yeah.
And really all you need to do is just put the Tombstone. You've done your job, PPD.
One matchup that we haven't talked about yet. Mid. Samil versus CCNC.
True.
Yep.
Expected to be the last couple picks there for sure.
Yeah.
Because both have been getting some criticism. As in, well, CCNC mostly a couple of months ago, and he's been on the up and up. And Samil obviously swapping back to mid lane after being off lane for a while. And
the king?
The king, is he the king still?
Well, if you're having S4 in your team, S4 is definitely a better mid laner, in my opinion. Maybe I'm a little bit biased.
Wow, that is some serious bias.
That reminds me of when Samil tweeted the king is back.
Yeah.
Team Empire, did you see their reply?
Yeah, was it S4's back or something?
It was Long Live King Magnuson.
Yeah.
Which was pretty
Here we go, S4 with the axe. He's basically the tempo player in the team. Fits really good in the team, and yeah, Axe is just a really good hero here. Not sure how they will play this though. If there's a Dazzle with him.
Yeah, kind of doing that little like dual lane. Of course, arch enemies there, right? In terms of the Grave and the Culling Blade, but they work great together. A little bit of Shadow Wave damage.
I'll see what comes out for the two big cores now. Expected to be Pycat and CCC, depending on if Pycat and 3-3 switch rolls around.
Yeah. In terms of how Pycat's heroes are, you're kind of expecting his hero to be picked up because CCNC has been given the I guess like the dumpster heroes. Like, you look at Sumail and CCNC, they play very different games right now. CCNC is the Death Prophet DK, and Sumail is like the try and carry us kind of a player.
Actually, looking at the Axe, I'm a little bit confused by it now because it doesn't really counter any of those heroes, honestly, and you don't see the enemy carry yet either, so it's... If he just picks a range hero, it's a little bit...
Yeah.
You could have picked a Centaur maybe instead, run away from this Tombstone.
I think they're focusing on kind of like a dual pressure lane situation, much like the Axe Skyrath situation, where you're just going to be looking to battle hunger over and over. But it is true, there's no like innate counters here that make it look very strong.
And it is pretty good team fight. You've got this setup for the cooldown, for the Sand King to come in off the back of it. I'll see Pycat get the Luna, as sort of we were saying before. Luna or more, if you get Pycat on in a good game, you're going to be in a pretty good position, I feel, as Optic Gaming. And Luna Beastmaster, a lot of push, a lot of brawling as well with the Undying.
Looks like a Bloodseeker game for Optic. I think if you have that Luna and the Beastmaster running around, making some space.
That's true. A lot of spam ability on the side lanes. You've got the Sky as well. You're consistently going to be keeping your opponents low in the side lanes.
We've seen it been upgraded from only a Slark counter to just a overall good hero now, honestly. And we've seen Optic played it twice, I believe, so definitely here you could pick. Banning the DK, that's very nice when we don't see a shitty-ass DK because that hero's trash.
Well, shouldn't you ban the Bloodseeker instead if he's so good for Optic?
I mean, maybe, because I think you're right. The Optic may just pick the Bloodseeker.
Feels pretty good. I mean, the other option I think would be the Lina is kind of okay because you have the natural Yules builder up against the Axe, some heavy damage into someone like that Gyrocopter, and he has a decent front line with like the Beastmaster and the Undying. Like Undying just gets up in that fight. But specifically, like Na'Vi were having a lot of trouble with the Luna-Lina combo. They could not find a way for either of those heroes to just like stand still and output some damage. So that's kind of why I like the Bloodseeker. Like, don't try and go for two heroes that are this like long-range kind of hitter. Just get someone else who's in there, and
it's very, I mean, against the, sort of the Axe, hero that's going to be standing in position, jumping in, very easy to hit with the Blood Right. You've now got the Dazzle that's going to have to be super careful about his positioning. When the Blood Right's down on the ground, suddenly those earlier levels of the save are going to be harder to get off in the fights.
PL is still open, which is one of the hardest counter against the Undying. Yeah. And we're just going for the Lina, sure. Yeah, it's, as you said, good Yules.
It's a CCNC classic.
It is. Yeah. I don't really like Lina at the moment. I feel like we've seen that hero flop quite a few times here.
Yeah, but it's CCNC.
It feels like it.
You underestimate his power.
It's a space-making Lina this game for sure, so there's not a lot of pressure to be like super hard one, out of the mid lane. It's more like get your Yules, get your Shadow Blade, try and create kills across the map, and allow Pycat to do his thing. See if you can get the game carried from there. But no, I don't mind now that it's not the Bloodseeker, it feels a little better with that like mid gyro and into that PL.
So what are we expecting here from EG?
Does Sumail want to carry hero? Does he just want to like storm this shit? Try and win the game?
I mean, classic Storm.
I mean, it doesn't feel that great against Beastmaster Skyrath, but I've seen them pick it into games where it didn't feel that great. So TA was a solid ban though in terms of a Sumail carry. The other one would be like the SF situation and these hard like physical damage mids.
Ooh, what's this?
Okie dokie.
Okay.
Arteezy Chaos
Sumail Gyro.
Yeah.
Wow, I mean,
something different here.
It is what we saw Illidan do it the other day. It looked very good, the Chaos Knight.
Yeah, heard some whispers of teams talking about it, being like, this hero seems pretty damn strong heading late. I know that EG they thought they'd lost that game up against the CK in terms of just like the itemization. They had some different ideas.
It's super good against the Luna. If you can sort of get that blink armlet, and especially with a Dazzle, an offensive weave, and then a blink in with the CK, bam, that's the Luna out of every single fight.
And usually the level, you get the BKB on Luna, you feel safe, but now with the level 20 talent, he just dies so quickly.
Which, for that reason, I kind of hope he goes the same way as Illidan does and gets the Midas, because getting that level 20 is so crucial against heroes like
That would be
Luna.
pretty rough, though, because of the laning phase.
It could get punished. But we see Arteezy get Battle Furies and stuff in situations where he could get punished.
Right. You have to let other people cast now.
I want to see the Arteezy Midas.
Guys, the Twitter predictions were about 50-50. I'm going to ask one word from you guys, just the team that you think will win. Trent first.
Optic.
Evil Geniuses, 100%.
That was not one word.
Kokona clap.
Not one word
Optic.
either. All right, 2 Optic, 1 EG. Now, I know 2 guys that can't wait to talk to you about this matchup. It is time to get going with our first game of the day with Toby and Kyle.
Thank you, Shiva. Yes, we are ready to go. Completely unbiased cast for this North America versus North America game.
Yeah, not something you see every day at a major, right?
Yeah. It's,
What?
no, I had something, but it was really rude, so I decided to not say it.
That's a shame.
Yeah. You know what? Self-control is a good
Please, this is an
thing.
NA versus NA game. There's
Oh,
no
yeah.
such thing as BM here.
Is it really? Is it really? It kind of felt like it was the, I say the 2 non-North American players that kept EG in this tournament. The wall of OG, or formerly, like,
That was
formerly
just an
known as
off
OG.
day. Okay, it was just an off day. You know, and for EG fans, it's just been an off week. You know, they'll get there. They're still, at heart, the best team in the world. Just ask anyone who bleeds blue.
I don't know. People are running low on blood.
Yeah. The EG is sort of like the Black Knight in the Monty Python movie, you know? He's just
I'll bite your legs off.
Yeah, missing a couple legs and an arm, but still formidable.
What was it? I remember when I first moved to Germany, and someone told me, like, in the translation, they translated to be funny in German, and presumably it's not "I'll bite your legs off." It's like "I'll spit in your eye," or something like this. It's like, okay, yeah, not as funny. It's almost like as good as like "I fart in your general direction."
Yeah, you can see the Undying pick from Optic, even into Gyrocopter, just demonstrates how high Peter values this hero. I think it's still underpicked. Not sure I'm as confident to take it into the Gyrocopter because, you know, you just flacking all the zombies, you're going to die. But such an incredible laner and provides so much value in a team fight along with that self-sustain. Your laning presence with a Luna is nuts. I think that they're going to just crush Sand King Axe, considering both strength heroes. They're just going to get dual decay spammed. And I don't know about this last pick, CK. I love that Sumail's on a playmaker, but how is he going to do up against a Lina mid?
Is this also one of those answers, like eventually, like Luna walks over a lot of lineups and into the later game? Like, is the CK just going to be the pure answer to that and the Tombstone as well?
Look how squishy Optic's lineup is. You know, yeah, Beastmaster and Undying are strength heroes, but they have such low armor. Like, at a certain point, CK, much like Spirits against EG, like, I think they learned a lot of respect for this hero because they realize, like, there's no real counter to BKBs like a Chaos Knight. And there's nothing Luna can buy that allows her to live through a reality rift that pierces BKB at the level 20 talent with, you know, 6 CKs just suddenly smacking you in the face.
Yeah. Like, even if you want to get away, it's going to get reality rifted back down again, so maneuverability items won't work as well. So just quick bearing for our lanes as well. So it's obviously, we were talking about the top lane, the Undying versus the SK. Axe had the creep wave pulled over by the SK, which now also has Luna. They're both farming between their towers, leaves the mid matchup of CC and C versus Sumail, Lina versus Gyrocopter. And then the bottom lane, which is the Beastmaster and Skywrath Mage against the defensive support of Dazzle, combining with the CK. But then again, like, we were talking about this during the drafting phase, how it's like we were a little sad that Fly doesn't have like these aggressive heroes he likes to pick up. Like we see Witch Doctor, but it's like Cask and Regeneration mainly. But when you combine it with so many illusions of the CK, the Dazzle should be able to actually pump in a crap ton of damage through the heal bomb.
I think it's more about the minus armor from the Weave and the Grave. Whenever you're playing against a draft that relies heavily on burst, like the Beast Sky ultimate combo, maybe the Luna ulti, Grave is just such a great tool, especially with an armlet hero. That's the thing. Whenever you have an armlet hero plus the Grave, you're effectively not just leaving a guy at 0 health, it's going to be 500 because you just toggle as it ends. So it's very tough to take a CK down in this game, especially when you don't have too much sustained damage until Lina and Luna have 3 or 4 items up.
This is a fun little duel on the top lane all the time. S4 is copping so much damage, he's already burned the Salve, but luckily because he keeps getting hit by Decay, it's a very efficient usage of the Salve. And Crick continues to bring him experience.
But at least you couldn't pull the first wave, Toby, after the change.
But he pulled the second, and he pulled the fourth. So I think as far as EG goes, they're still very happy with this. Because meaning Pyket's also burning. Actually, not burning through that many consumables.
I like what he did too, where he stacked the hard camp, and I was just going to actually run all the way back to base to grab a win lace, and probably look to move towards bottom to help set up kills, because that he gets Axe a game, gives him solo XP, which is so important, because now he's able to lane here.
Well, they're actually going on bottom lane. A lot of damage into Zai. It's all that reality rift, and they have the stick from Fly, the poison touch. And RTG just making the most out of it. Just reality rifts in, you get that armor reduction, then you just hit him so hard with that level 2 Fade Shadow Wave.
We've seen this Skywrath picked up early by many teams at this event. What do they like to do in the safe lane in this meta? Pick this sustain heavy support. But Dazzle offers a hell of a lot more damage output than, say, a Warlock or a Witch Doctor after the Maledict nerfs, because if you catch them with that rift into like just 1 or 2 creeps, that heal bomb is also going to do up to 200 damage. Like, that's very significant when you consider Skywrath has 1 armor. He's already at negative when he gets rifted.
Crit's waiting for the perfect gank in mid. CCNC is... there is an illusion rune on top river. He doesn't see that.
He's 100% dead if he gets caught outside of a creep wave.
Yeah.
He's going to check bottom, but
he's been very defensive about it. Like, he has not gone down... like, he has not gone down that stairwell. He's always hiding back. Crit smoke is worn off, but now you hit nighttime. So homing missiles already on the way, and this was really telegraphed for EG to get these kills. Light Striker raised, he actually gets it off, but the Burrow Strike Rocket Barrage is still going to be more than enough from EG.
Really well played by Sumail. Micros the illusions to ensure they don't get Dragon Slaved, so that he has the damage output, saves the Q, ensures not a tick is wasted on a creep, and just way too much damage for Lina, where 800 HP, it's very squishy when you have the magic damage output of a hero like Gyro plus SK.
PPD, I'm not quite certain you really want to battle this. S4 wants to drive the creep wave down, but with a couple of stick charges, he can also just stand there and take the rune.
Look what he's going to get as well on S4. I think he's going to take that over to the hard camp and just farm both. Could backlane a bit. You don't want, you can't actually do anything to an Undying, so you want to ensure he doesn't get XP off that hard camp. So this makes sense.
So they just keep it in the lane for now. Arteezy's being harassed pretty heavily on the bottom. They get a reality rift, only 1 second stun, but the help is arriving. Comes in the form of the Sand King. Burrow Strike can do it, but he doesn't want to. He wants the kill to go to Arteezy. Push him closer towards those treads and keep your core up high in the net worth.
Yep. Really liking the play from EG thus far. Yeah, Luna's having a great game. He's free farming, but you're dealt with in this game. You're going to tank a Blade Mail taunt to the face at a certain point. As we said, the CK, the entire game has the ability to deal with you. There's no real way for Luna to itemize against this.
So then you have to push faster, right? You need to add more pressure. But can you do that with the lineup that Optic has? Undying is pretty damn good to be aggressive if you can sync with somebody. Sumail, okay, he's turning back in for this fight. The Rocket Barrage, the creep wave tanked up so much of it. Sumail tried to commit.
That was
questionable at best.
Yeah, that was an interesting decision. He made the right play. Rockets preemptively to ensure he gets the rune, but no reason to turn around there, Toby. Tries to outplay CC&C, but unfortunately, no matter how good Jordan was, he couldn't drive to the hole against 3 people.
And he was having such a good start as well. This is going to give a better movement now for CC&C. He can start these rotations. He can add the pressure. And that's when I think EG's they were doing pretty good so far. Like, it could be a little bit shakier, even if the CK does counter the Luna. The rest of the team from Optic can do a good job. Zai just copying way too much damage. 1 more hit will do it. Burrow Strike forward. They're stunning up the Beastmaster, keeping the distance from Arteezy. 1 charge spell, pulls back in PPD. We've got 20 stolen strength, so he's going to be perfectly all right.
This is such a hard game for Zai in this lane. If he catches a rift, he's dead. There's really nothing he can do about it. They're going to smoke on EG, but they're going to use the Shrine in Vision, so I believe this will be sniffed out. And the issue with them is that mid lane, nothing can really go up against Lina at this point. He's level 7. Zai's going to refill his bottle. Gyro can't handle this pressure. He's just spamming Dragon Slave. Even with the raindrop, I mean, he's still forced out of lane a lot of the time, and it's easier for CC&C to move around the map because he just shoves the lane immediately.
For now, like I thought the gank was going to go towards mid, but instead it's rotated all the way to the top, so Fly and Crit are looking towards Pycat. And Fly, well, he's going to be revealed. Comes out of the smoke. Pycat says, yo guys, I got a little bit of a friend here.
He expects him to have Grave. Fly does not, otherwise he would surely just be ulting to secure the free kill.
CC and Seema will be really sad. Like that haste rune just spawned on bottom. If it was top, Fly's dead right now.
Yep. He'll probably look to go for it. We'll
Yeah,
see.
he will. PPD's holding it. Actually, they're backing up. Fly's gone in real deep.
Yep, they saw the ward too.
Yeah, that ward will not survive Fly. But he's close enough to the axe that he can survive this, unless CCNC is just going to Laguna him straight out, which I'm fairly certain he was looking to do.
They actually just abandoned the bottom lane. I'm not sure I agree with that move from EG. You saw them. They were punishing that bot lane so hard. And
Crit's going down there now.
And one thing I hate to do is rotate into the losing lane by leaving your winning lane. And obviously Axe, very strong. He's going to finish that Vanguard, but his job is to be up here by himself, create space, get your CK ahead. This hero has no recovery mechanic. You don't shove lanes hard. You need to abuse this early laning phase when you're so dominant.
Normally, like if it wasn't the Axe or the off lane, like I would agree with EG's move because like Crit can get the levels on the bottom. He needs the levels too on this SK. Gets the money getting close towards a Blink Dagger, but S4 needs the same type of thing, and he does the same role. Such aggression, and CCNC just waits it out in the top lane. Skyref May just soaking up the mid.
Such an interesting movement. And we just have a tri-lane now with S4 with a Vanguard.
He runs
zoning out.
He's running support right now.
I mean, I don't mind this, I guess. Like bottom lane though, you have a Beastmaster who's not really threatened by Crit, so I think 3-3 making the wise decision to just not necessarily just shove the lane super hard, but ensure he gets all the denies when possible.
Fairly certain Crit knows like with 33's Raw, he just needs one person to rotate over to help him. Actually, not even that.
Yep.
Medallion and Courage does so much damage.
Yep.
And he's just he could axe spam this.
Yep, exactly. This is the issue. Like you
PPD. TP out, stun. It's going to be there from Chaos Knight and PPD.
top lane, Arcane Rune.
Does he actually pop anything else off? Fly's going to be nearby. S4 rotates over. So you can say goodbye to Sumail while that dive was going on.
He grabbed a Arcane Rune and chased CCNC up to the high ground, but Luna was just sitting on the Ancient Tail, popped ult, beam, immediately Sumail dies again.
So the trade-off is the tier 1 tower. So it's a 1-for-1. Sumail does go down, but RTG takes the top tier 1 tower. Bottom lane, Sand King just sealed up and brought down. You knew that was inevitable. S4 will return to keep this bottom lane under control. But then again, CCNC's moving in. Laguna Blade's ready to rock and rumble. Raw needs to come out. 33 waits a little bit longer, so CCNC's in range, so he can Laguna Blade and just Dragon Slave the kill.
It's such a great decision from 3-3 to pick up this immediate medallion instead of any other build-up.
Fire Striker Ray doesn't connect over on Sumail. Into the call down. Waka Barrage. They use the Shallow Grave so Sumail can get real aggressive into CCNC. He'll follow up with a kill onto Zai.
Wow.
And then again, Zai, he kills him before. Fly actually gets the revenge.
Isn't it crazy how this gold change works? That was a 2-for-2, yet somehow Optic comes out 600 gold ahead because the Skyref gets so much gold for that high net worth target of Sumail. And the medallion, once again, all of these heroes, the Dazzle, the Axe, the Sand King, they go to negative armor. Those axes hit so hard, and you would think Axe, you know, he's going to taunt, but when he's playing this early game without any armor pieces, if his taunt isn't active, he just dies.
Sentry ward planted. It was too easy to see him, and hiding inside the Sandstorm does not work against Optic.
3-3, man. Definitely a star in the making. I think if there's any player that's truly impressed as a free agent pickup this whole season, it's got to be 3-3. Like I said last time we watched him play, he started as the 4, and now he's sometimes the 3, but often the real carry of Optic.
Support like that, just creating more space for the rest of these cores just to do beautiful things. Pycat's having that space right now in the dire jungle, able to stack up himself, and there was a new observed ward that was planted down by EG, so they got a little bit more information, but Pycat's getting free jungle. They're taking the tier 1 tower on bottom. Fortification's only delaying the inevitable.
I do like what they did, though. Like, Arteezy's just been up top for the last 3-4 minutes. They did utilize a big rotation, but they got that tower earlier than the Optic side, even though Optic is the ones playing with the Beastmaster, and he's just been up here free farming. So it's what you like out of a CK, but as you can see, he's still behind the Luna because you just simply don't farm as fast.
Yeah. But then, like, how do you counter that? Like, you look for the fights instead?
You kind of want to, but we've seen Sumail get punished on 3 rotations now, and look at what Luna's doing right now. Look at that stack.
Yeah, that's nice. That's real nice.
Peter had made like 2 or 3 just in the jungle, and then they have that huge stack on the bottom ancient. So Probably can't do it just yet, but he's taken at least 3 or 4. He just triple stacked another hard camp for himself. Like,
Rolls
Luna's
out.
getting huge.
Goodbye, SK. Can you continue to delay the Blink Dagger initiation, and Optic are taking care of all of these tier 1 towers that control up the Radiant jungle. They'll even get rid of the fresh Observer Ward that was planted down. Axe to cut the trees. S4 can't just slip in close. The rocket doesn't even connect. A CCNC with a double damage rune ready to beat into that mid tower. And EG currently have no way to initiate. They only have a counter initiation, and they have the TP in CK. He's doing it inside the trees. The seal. Axe took so much damage. They at least ripped through the tombstone of Optic. The fortification on the tower just allowed EG as well that extra confidence. Almost like Optic are finally doing that stack.
Yeah, I mean, it's taken him a long time. I would have liked to see him ask for a little bit of help. Just one nuke from CCNC would have made this much faster. Those new ancients take so long to kill, and they give that whole stack 40 health regen total, and all of a sudden, like, it seems like nothing dies. Sorry, 20 health regen total. And it's nuts. But he does get another stack out of it as well, but he's going to be forced to use 2 salves as well.
It's still still great.
It's worth it.
Yeah. Let the Mask of Madness do some work. He's got a shrine in a minute. The rest of that camp is pretty low. Like, wouldn't be too difficult. But then again, EG's warding vision, because they lost that early Observer Ward, they committed their secondary ops to watching the top lane. Arteezy wants to fight. After PPD, former teammate now brought down.
He got the RNG there as well.
The extra illusion.
Big part of CK is, do you get that extra illusion before level 12? Because it's a huge increase, right? 2 illusions versus 1. I mean, that kill is not so simple if he doesn't get the proc. But one of the reasons it's one of my favorite heroes to cast and just play in general is it's very luck-based. And as we all know, players, not huge fans. Spectators, it's all about the RNG.
That's what keeps us on our toes. S4 is taking way too much damage. CK is in the neighborhood, going to break the smoke, and also takes the initiation. The armlet toggle needs to work pretty hard, but Arteezy 3 heroes on his tail. At least S4 finishes the stack, gets the Blink Dagger, and gets the hell out of there.
They got 3 of those bounties as well on Optic. Both bottom, thanks to CCNC, who again, making great usage of his movement around the map, something he excels at. He's playing this entire bottom side now that Luna rotated towards top, and something you see VP do, LGD do. You never want to really be playing 5 heroes in one area of the map, especially as bounties are about to spawn. So he effectively picks up 2 hero kills just by playing bottom jungle.
S4's Blink Dagger just got revealed. He walked on top of the Dire Observer Ward. They threw down 2 sentries from EG looking for this aggressive ward. Crit in the meantime, bottom lane cops the Laguna Blade. Doesn't die. Able just to walk it off.
Yeah, another thing I like CCNC doing is the max Fiery Soul over the stun. Especially when you're playing a more passive game like this, you're waiting for more of your Luna timing. Like, just farm the map and abuse rune control. You farm significantly faster just spamming Dragon Slave with the auto attack damage, or speed rather, of Fiery Soul. You can even do Ancients. And Pycat just farming top woods in the meantime. Optic not really needing to cross the river.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's accept the status quo. Tell you what, they've been having 3 people in the middle lane just consistently. 33 is now here. Because that tier 1 tower is pretty low. Yeah, they would like to finish this finally.
That's what I was saying before the draft. I think that, you know, pick an Ember or a Storm for your mid hero on EG. Yeah. Instead, they chose to put the Gyro there and take the carry, but all your initiation is Blink required. Whenever you're in that spot, there's no real reach. So now Axe has picked up his Blink, but he feels pressured now to make moves because you know you're in a bit of a hole, and Luna's getting further and further ahead. Yeah, CK will inevitably deal with you, but in the meantime, the mid-game Luna, like, he's 3 levels ahead already.
TP is off cooldown in 3 seconds time. The Axis will clean up the trees, and he'll go Phantasm again, looking to kill off the Beastmaster. The illusions help tank up, at least that Mystic Flare. Cooldown comes in very, very late from Sumail. They want to rotate heavily, and they even smoked up themselves, Evil Geniuses, to use that Blink Dagger, but now underneath the Dire Observer Ward.
Yep. Arteezy had to play down left. He went up left instead. It removed his team's ability to find the time to cover him.
Oh, Troll Trap, 33? He started the roar.
Oh, top lane, though. They found Luna. He stuck around way too long. Pycat in trouble.
Pycat probably thought that no one else would really come after him. But that's the opposite of what happened. That Observer Ward maybe even worked against them. It didn't see the 2 heroes smoked up.
Yep, and it's good. It's interesting when you use smokes in that way where one player is showing, because it gives you this false sense of confidence, as you said, and then all of a sudden you're blinked on Blink reveal, by the way, by an axe that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Oh, cheeky 3-3 blocking the top ancient stack with his bird. Excellent micro player. I cannot sing his praises enough.
I'll look forward to seeing him being a little bit more aggressive now the Shadow Blade's coming out in the Courier. So Optic Gaming having better ways to be aggressive. They've got the Yule Scepter from CCNC, but they've now also got Beastmaster Raw, which you can just walk up to a big target. So that BKB of Sumail, which he's now trying to buy, may be completely useless. So Arteezy pressures the mid lane. They're using him as bait. The rest of Optic are coming over ready to fight. Now, there's no Phantasm available for Arteezy during this fight. He's not even turning the armor on to beat into the tower. So here comes Beastmaster. Shadowblade close, goes for the Raw. Where's the extra support? Remember, they've still got that Shallow Grave of Fly. Tombstone will drop Sumail. Let the cooldown go. Epicenter from Crit is very good into PPD. They'll take care of him and the Tombstone. Crit kept alive by the Shallow Grave, only barely. But now it's S4 on the run. A 2-second stun from Arteezy will be enough to control up 33, but Pycat, he's looking to inflict damage, but only into Fly. This sustain is ridiculous. At the moment, they even get the Blink call. They're just back-to-back killing Evil Geniuses. And the Burrow Strike. 3's not enough. Pycat's blocked in by his own Freak Wave. The traitors of his own dire side will ensure his death. Fly gets the kill with that Shadow Wave. So much physical damage when 4 heroes are surrounding that Luna. And Optic are in a world of trouble now.
Gorgeous team fight from EG. You could see the heroes that all got low. Who were they? Axe, CK, Sand King was saved by the Grave. The sustain of Dazzle is nuts, and they initiated directly on top of the Undying. That's the sustain hero for Optic. He goes down immediately. Tomb dies just thanks to the flak. Gyro's not even limiting his own damage output. And long fights are always going to favor EG just because of that sustained advantage. And as you saw, Lena's paper, he gets initiated on, he's going to get just killed in 2 seconds. Same with Luna.
Don't even know if that BKB is going to help him once he has it up. Like, it's...
Optic even recognizes this. They're going double Bloodstone. You want to play a skirmish-heavy game, control the map, and find pickoffs immediately. Short fights favor you. EG, you just want to dangle your strength heroes. They take the brunt of the enemy's spells, and then all of a sudden Gyro's killing Tomb, and you turn around to fight because that reality rift 6-second cooldown. Like, he has nearly 3,000 health on CK with Armlet up.
Yeah, it's a lot. As you said, yeah, it's the double Shadow Blade. Yes, that's what they need. The Luna, however, is still pretty damn big. Even for being paper, that's still 10,000 net worth into Pycat. They've committed a lot to make him work, or at least give him that chance to survive in the fights.
He just needs to be bigger. You need to see him. You're gonna need. Optic needs Luna to hit 20k net worth before anyone on EG is like touching 15. If he stays less than an item ahead of his counterparts in the Gyro and CK, you're gonna have issues as Optic. And it's all about the team fights. Yet the Shadow Blades allows them to play around the map, but team fights are always going to favor EG unless one of their critical cores or the Dazzle gets taken out right away at the start of the fight.
Yeah. And that's going to be pretty hard when Hax is going to be jumping and calling URT's causing a lot of problems as well. And like the Blink Tag is now on Crit. They've got double initiation. Crit brings the Epicenter. S4 brings the Blade Mail, which is coming on the Courier now. So Optic Gaming can find themselves killing themselves very, very quickly, very, very easily. So they're going to group up once more in mid lane.
I like the smoke.
Curry is finally bringing in the BKB, but yeah, EG smoked up, looking for a fight. 33's been on top for a while.
If they're showing Artur, but at the same time he's shoving a lane, it's going to lull you into a false sense of security. You're going to be comfortable maybe looking to poke mid.
They're rotating around. They may even find Pycat.
It's a great angle. And again, if they find Pycat, you know, they need to get him before BKB comes off.
They just planted the Observe Ward, gave them all the information they required. PPD will put the Tombstone down, but there are so many heroes here that they can go through the Tombstone and then into Peter as well.
Straight into Roche.
Yeah, they are wasting no time. That was Sumail's first usage of the BKB too. They were taking no chances. This is such a cleaner run from Evil Geniuses. The CK pick definitely seems to enable them so heavily.
Oh,
but
it's a great hero.
At least their execution's been good.
Yeah.
Like the only questionable thing has been what that rotation to top at the beginning with us. Yeah, that was kind of it.
You know what it did? It bought them time, though. That early to mid-game transition, where usually you see some skirmishing, maybe a fight around a tower, they avoided that completely. So they're just, now it's 22 minutes. I feel like you're in a commanding position if you're EG. You're very confident with this.
Oh, Crit's dead. Okay, maybe he's not. There wasn't enough mana on CCNC. He had the 1 charges. He could have just Laguna popped crit, but decided against it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. The BKB for now is great, but in 5 levels, Reality Rift can ignore it. But Optic wanted that fight that EG just took to go favorably. They wanted the Roshan, and now your timing is going to be 10 minutes or so from now, and Luna really doesn't have that lead in net worth you're looking for, because once again, you have 2 methods of BKB piercing disable on EG. Really, a Beastmaster Roar, that's not going to be enough because there's always a Dazzle in the backline ready, and Fly's played a perfect game. He's 4-0-7.
They're trying to force an engagement while Phantasm is down. That's the only thing that can happen right now from Optic. They have no control of their own jungle, so they take the tier 2 tower on bottom.
Yeah. That's all they can do.
And try and find a fight with the 10-second BKB of Pycat.
Yeah. Meantime, I like this choice. They gave Aegis to the Gyrocopter. Sumail going drums, BKB, Ags. Just getting tanky. Like, whenever you have a Dazzle, abuse just tankiness, because it's so hard for you to actually go down with Grave on such a short cooldown, 15 seconds when it's maxed out.
They're going high ground. Lena, because she can walk back. Skyrush Mage finally gets the TP. It just came on the courier. But Pycat doesn't have a TP scroll. He's not here to defend it. If EG knew about this, Pycat's running over. Okay, now he's got one. The courier came back again to give him a TP scroll.
It's so hard to threaten high ground. You just want to make sure you force somebody back into the base. Now you can go catch your lanes.
It's just where we had a C9 moment for a second.
Not quite that bad. If CK ults up, maybe that can be a play, but...
Yeah. Actually, if CK's heart is up,
yeah,
that may just still be a play. Like you don't even need copies of TZ. He's going to be so damn strong once that heart's done.
That's the issue for Optic. Until they get 3-4 items up on Lena or Luna, like we said, they can't actually deal sustained damage throughout the fight. They just tickle him. He's going to have 4,000 HP with Weave ticking, and at any point, the burst damage he can output with the illusions critting, like...
And there's such defensive items as well coming in from Optic. Like CCNC built the plate mail so he can just like Shivas or whatever he needs to do with this, and then you're getting a Skadi from Pycat. So no extra like just straight up butterfly or anything along these lines. He knows he needs to just tank up.
It's funny, this is one of the few times I think you actually want to go a different direction, specifically on Lena. I think you have to abuse damage output and positioning, not tankability, because you're still going to die to CK.
They're going after the CK. Have they got the damage available? Raw.
Wow.
They control him in S4. Such a quick Yule Scepter from Zai. Sends him up and towards the air. They just go straight through the Blade Mail. And EG giving 2 kills over. And they may find more. Concussive shot flying down towards Sumail. BKB TP's out. There's no Raw. There's no Sun available. And they don't have the damage to get through him, but...
What are they doing up there? They have 2 wards as well, and they're just caught napping. I mean, if you're going to make this sort of play, like farming enemy woods, you got to make sure your team is close by.
We cursed him. That's all it was.
Yeah.
Started talking about like how smooth EG's play is, and Optic Gaming get exactly what they wanted. Like, they get 2 huge cores, isolated, one by one, they bring them down.
I mean, said it best. I don't know, Axe S4 going for the Crimson Guard. I actually think he might have wanted to pipe this game just because of the Skywrath Luna factor. Crimson's great, but other than, like, Beastmaster's not even going Necrobook. So, other than the zombies, which are getting killed off by the flak, what's the Crimson really for? Yeah, the Glade, the Luna, but I think you're actually, Lena Luna, never mind. I take that back. It's fine.
Yeah. There's enough justification for it. The issue is still just going to be, like, can Optic Gaming continuously get these picks? Like, you just got to pick like that on top lane, and you just hands down win the fight. Because it was CK as well. Now they get more information. It's like Arteezy was looking to initiate on Pycat, but the rest of his team was too far away.
Not just that, but I mean, Optic did realize it, but they could have just taken the fight there. Look, they had a ward. They saw Dazzle Gyro were still top lane. Like, EG's got to slow down a little bit. They're in a good spot still, but this game is anybody's.
What is it? You can look at EG and say they look so smooth when they're playing ahead, like when they're ahead of the game. But you get tested, you fall apart, and you need to actually... Okay, and even dust being popped. I don't know if they felt something was near them.
And you want Arteezy Heart before you take a team fight, but in the meantime, Pycat, he should probably finish that Skadi. Aegis fades on Gyro. He has Ags on the way. You're going to get this bottom tower most likely for free, but I feel like EG could have done this a lot sooner. They played top jungle so long, then they had to lose those 2 cores.
May not be for free.
They have vision
it's a
set up, though.
5-man smoke up. The Observer Ward didn't see it. And it looks like now PPD, like he's going to put down the sentry ward. He's going to start dewarding breaks his smoke in order to do this. But the observer and sentry from EG is on the other hillside. So they're going to go for
positioning.
a full wraparound to make this work. The Aghanim Scepter just got completed.
Yep,
PPD, the courier flies right over the top of EG, but it's the full wraparound. This almost feels like the play moment. Be ready for it. Phantasm out. They go for the jump in S4. He only gets an illusion. The tombstone's down. A nice spot. Crit is waiting for the right time to strike, but hasn't found the moment just yet. They actually see him. He has to Burrow Strike away defensively. And now Optic own the Radiant side of the river, and EG own the Dire side. We're playing switcheroo.
Perfect play from Optic. They sniffed out a trap. S4, if he lands a taunt on anybody, that Reality Rift you could see canceled because he lost vision. You could not take that fight. Good BKB from Sumail, but Optic with that split-second decision. We cannot do this. Like, EG was ready for that. And like I said, their team fight is nuts right now if they just
Optic
get those spells off.
They have to get rid of the Observer and Sentry on the hillside. PPD just walks in and just takes it for the team. But will it be enough? The three-man Light Strike Array. The control is good. Turning into the Eclipse. Now that Guardian Roots, it will not do anything to actually protect you. Sorry, Crimson Guard. 3 seconds stun. Have they got the damage to get through the Lunar? RTZ only barely does it as the SK sent up and towards the air with an epicenter by the Yule Scepter of Zai. Can Burrow Strike over. Finding CCNC. Another Light Strike Array will do the work until S4 comes in for the dunk. Gets the kill. It's a 3-for-3 trade-off. Crypt wants to go for more. Blink Dagger off cooldown in just a couple of seconds. If he stops getting hit by axes, he could blink forward and Burrow Strike on Zai, but just being denied the maneuverability. 33 may not be done yet. He's got Roar available. S4. They saw him under the Observer and Sentry, and 33 will back off.
Great team fight by two great North American Dota teams. I like the decision from Optic. You take that fight. They let Undying die. He has no tombstone, not quite level 15, unfortunately, or as Bulldog said, that feed would have been extra value, but you want to take that fight with the BKB on Sumail down. You know the Phantasm is ticking out, but still could have been way worse for them. Watch this. You're going to see them wrap in. Undying's like, hey, I have no spells. I'm just going to walk in here and feed. He doesn't get the D word off, unfortunately, but pre-BKB from the Luna, the three-man Light Strike Array might have actually just saved the fight, in truth, because I'm not so sure it goes this favorably for EG, and it was still 3-for-3, so no one really comes out ahead of this, but S4 lives 64 HP, and he's going to come back in on the backside in about 5 seconds to finish off the Lina. Crit makes a super good heads-up play. CCNC a little out of position. That's part of why I prefer him to have, say, a Hurricane Pike instead of this armor piece, because you're too squishy. This whole game you're going to be squishy. I want him to be able to play further away from the fights and deal more damage, because that's always going to be Optic's concern. Who's actually going to be dealing damage if the Luna gets taunted?
But you also understood why he picked it up. Like, we were talking about how much paper Optic felt like and how hard it is to survive against the CK. You needed something like this to do it. Like the plate mail, but now maybe...
I'm telling you, it's not going to matter when he gets hard, Toby. He's just going to die anyway. They don't have real save. It's not like anybody's... There's no grave on his team.
EG are coming to fight once again. Once more, they show was one player pushing the lane. Arteezy so far up, but Optic aren't idiots. They know something is wrong. They have a fresh Skadi over on the Luna. The BKBs are off cooldown. CCNC's looking for a target. Observer Sentry, he walks under S4, wrapping around the back, looking for the perfect call. The Tombstone's down, but then again, S4 Yules it out of this fight. The damage is so quick into Zai. He's got a couple of 6 times, actually gets the Mystic Flare off for Shallow Grave. Arteezy, he's living through this, wants to wand and toggle, but he just can't do it. And the Eclipse from Pycast, way too good. Both S4 and Arteezy down. Fly will join him in the afterlife. Terrific fight from Optic.
Yeah, I mean, it's just straight up DD threatens the Gyro out of the fight. They both pop BKB, but Sumail can't stand his ground because there's a Skadi Luna hitting him for double damage. It's just that simple. They're both trying to do the same job in the team fight, but...
Oh, Zai. 1 second was the difference. Okay, 2-ish. PPD checks it once again. They see that Roshan's up and notice how they instantly back away from the tier 2 tower. They really want this Aegis and cheese.
Yep. It's a great choice. And once again, 3-3's items. I psyched myself out. Crimson Guard's excellent. Especially, like, both teams have one. Okay. I was talking about EG's. Optics is very good.
The Crimson Guard didn't help him in the bottom lane fight, but this fight, it worked wonders.
You can see their window to win those fights. Luna ran in, BKB'd, 3-3 immediately pops the Crimson Guard, Tomb goes down. It's 10 to 15 seconds of utter dominance from Optic. You need to do what they did there. Find those kills. They run in, great smoke, Shadow Blade, BK. He gets the BKB with the Roar, which is key. You can see Crimson Guard already up, Tomb on the high ground. No one's actually going to die. In the meantime, you're going to see S4 isolated. The Shivas cancels the Blink Dagger, and in the meantime, Artur just dies in the center of the fight. I don't believe he had Phantasm up either, so I have no idea why EG's in this area of the map in the first place, because there's no towers here to take in the... Anyway,
It's
Roche
like,
is spawning soon.
It's like they felt like S4 was going to be a lot more successful going into that fight. Like his wraparound position, they had Observer and Sentry on the hill, so they felt really confident, but then Optic were so nicely split up, the Gyrocopter was never able to engage, and they almost fanned out in two different directions, going both like northwest, northeast.
Yep. And
So
I disagreed with the Shivas, but at the same time, it gives you a vision advantage in the team fights, as we saw there. And it's so huge, you just walk up, pop a Shivas, and this is what you struggle with if you're EG, when all of your initiation is Blink Dagger dependent. You have no hero that can actually make space in a team fight naturally, especially if the CK is the one being controlled.
Okay, EG have to come back. Optic are pushing this mid lane. There's fortification available for both sides. It's like EG are trying to force that bottom lane just a little bit harder, but Optic know what they can get. They take the tier 2 tower in mid, they rotate towards the top, they'll take that tier 2 tower as well. And EG, just how quick can you push? Phantasm is up. All ultimates from both teams is up. So the line's being drawn. I think Optic Gaming just want to try and force this. They'll take the trade-off.
They're ready to.
The line was already being drawn out by Samael, I think, saying, hey, they're coming top. So the bottom lane pushes in nicely for EG, but here comes Optic. They're committing.
Here comes the Epi.
Yep, Blink, fire strike forward, too far away. Pycat never even had to use his BKB to dodge this.
I didn't have the CK there yet. That's a very ambitious move. 3k HP, BKB ages Luna.
Were they just trying to buy time for their creep wave to do some damage on bottom, or what? Like, Optic still have, like, Aegis as well as Cheese. They're ready to push in and fight this.
They wait out the weave. Really disciplined.
Lucent Beam onto S4. Fly trying to stay close. The flat cannon. Tombstone is down, but that's why you see EG. They fortify with their creep wave up. They need to get rid of this Tombstone. They can't reach it. With Flat Cannon down, Burrow Strike forward. They're already bailing out. The Sentry Ward battle is still there. Trying to fight the front lines. One more hit. Can they even reach it? The Tombstone's still alive. Now the Mystic Flare connects. The Samael's BKB will protect him. Stands with Arteezy, but without that Flat Cannon damage, they haven't done enough work yet. Luna will die finally thanks to the Aegis Immortal. The Water's the cost. The Shallow Grave from Fly keeps Arteezy up, and he needs to back up. The Lucent Beams, they're trying to reach him, and they do. Buyback has to come out now from both Fly as well as from Arteezy. Scepter sending S4 up and towards the air. Pycat doesn't have that Aegis Immortal, doesn't have BKB. Now the Flat Cannon from Samael can start to do some work. Got 4 charges left on it. The Burrow Strike forward from Crit. They get the information. Pycat pulled back down again by Arteezy, and they need some exit kills right now, and they'll get 2 of them. It'll be PPD as well as Pycat, but the damage... It's the tier 3 tower. It could have been worse. The buyback, I think, kind of makes it worse.
Yeah, it is. Artur, though, he died without toggling there at the end of the fight. He might have got mini-stunned by a Luna Beam or something, but he 100% did not re-toggle. His grave faded. And you can see Luna hit 20k net worth, about 3k ahead of the Gyro. Sumail, though, going very defensive item builds. That BKB Axe. He'll have Butterfly soon. No one really able to buy MKB on Optic, but as you see, commanding fight. This third Roche will be everything.
Yeah. That's what's going to allow like either of these teams to break the base. With this tier 2 tower about to fall in mid lane, the map belongs to nobody. Even the vision game has been real difficult. I still love the fact that 33 is walking around with the stolen gem of EG, like efficiency money.
Yeah, he bought a Vlad's too. I really love his item choice. Solar Crest, he got the Shadow Blade first to control the map. Solar, Crimson, a Vlad's. Maybe armor is important in this game.
Maybe auras, armor, sure. The Observer sentries all down from EG. They want to know exactly what happens on this bottom lane. They don't want Optic to surprise them again. The Butterfly is completed on Samael, but
Level
keep in mind
CK.
as he spends this money, he does not have buyback available. He's short by 1,200.
I like the choice, though. Whenever one of your cores doesn't have buyback and you're having damage issues, you got to just spend the gold. If Gyro dies and has to buy back with Phantasm down, they're not defending the base anyway. You got to go all in here. Pycat most likely going to do the same. He has enough gold for his butterfly. I'd like to see him finish it. You're going to take fights on enemy side of the map. Buyback is not necessary, and there he goes.
He's picking it up right now. So smoke dump, ability to be very aggressive.
Yep. Both teams hitting timings. Ags on Skywrath. CK now, of course, can pierce the BKBs
They found
with
the
the reality
target.
rift.
S4 breaks the smoke. PPD couldn't get the damage in time. So they get away. New item as well is going to be that Aeon disc for the SK.
You got to get out. They just killed the ward, but they're in trouble still being hunted.
33. The Observer and Sentry's down. He's got the survivability. That Aeon disc couldn't have come at a better time. But maybe they find something else. The Yule Scepter, Dazzle. He's a lot of the armor. There's no buyback. Remember, he used it previously.
It's a huge pickoff.
No weave, no shallow grave, no survivability for Arteezy beyond what he has already.
This is a tough fight now if you're EG. You can ignore the Beastmaster, but you're going to have to deal with this Luna, but I just don't know if he's going to die. You need RNG from Arteezy.
I'm watching Crit for this aggressive, like, epicenter again. Just anything to try and get Optic to not push their base. The Undying Tombstone is down. They've got to keep their distance. Glaze makes it really difficult to close that distance off. PPD, yeah, they just stand it. The Tombstone is more of enough muscle, and S4, okay, he'll jump in. The BKBs are up from both sides. We're combining with the callout and the flag cannon. Samel needs to hit Harley, trying to go for the Tombstone, but then again, maybe Crit. There's your epicenter. They needed more, and Crit provides it. Is it still enough? The Lena in the back lines was never really touched. Now she'll use Arteezy, but doesn't want to go for the fight. Just throw out the seal. Almost getting the kill there.
Yeah, and you can see, I really stand by. I think S4 needs a pipe. Someone needs a pipe. That Skywrath double ultimate just immediately killed CK's illusions. Like, the magic damage output of Optic is nuts. They're just killing off CK's with just Luna ult, Lena spam, Skywrath, double everything. I mean, they lose the 1 Rax on EG, and once again, I just feel like they weren't quite as quick and decisive as they need to be. Possibly just because, again, new roster, you're not as fast as you might want to be, but that was a great taunt from S4. The CK didn't follow up until Luna had already had time to ultimate.
Yeah, it definitely feels a little odd for the way these initiations are happening. Let's have a look at it again as well. So S4 gets the initial jump onto Pycat. Both BKBs are up.
Look at the time. There's no time. And all of a sudden, Luna's BKB, the ult's going off. Like, if CK's there right away, he might just explode. Crit gets an incredible 3-man burrow epi off, which really just saves the fight. If they don't kill Luna there, they're losing 2 racks at least, and probably just the game. I like the Mjolnir as well now on the Lena. Again, deal with the CK illusions, you're dealing with the CK. You don't actually need to take down Artur. Just ensure that there's only one of them to deal with, not 5.
Yeah, but you are right though. Like the Phantasm, if he used that before S4's jump in, they could have got the kill nice and quick and just moved on. Samael as well, I think, is also being massively punished because of that BKB timing. It's down to 5 seconds. He just cannot be immune for long enough in the fights, and with so much magical damage that Optic throw at him, it's painful to say the least.
Yep. Optic, you're playing around 2 big spells, the Flak and the CK ult. CK ult now going to be down for another 14 seconds, but it's up soon. You got to kill the Lena if you're EG. He's the real turret of damage at the moment, but more importantly, I think he's a hell of a lot squishier than Luna. Half the HP, half the armor, plus the Mjolnir. You can't allow him to sit in the back lines, shredding through the Phantasm.
They're looking for a fight, both sides. EG trying to play the high ground, the Beastmaster unit's able to scout out everything else, and Optic, they're still waiting for Roshan. He's going to be a minute and 40 seconds away, but these teams don't know that. Only we know that. But the smoke up from EG, they're coming to initiate.
So tense.
You can't walk up the hill. Again, PPD's in the perfect position. He's going to break it. They have to wrap around, and that's the line that's already been drawn out by Crit.
Yeah, but Optic knows. You can see they're not sleeping here. They understand the sort of game they're in. You just stand on this high ground, play around Roshan, and again,
they're going
optimizing
so
their items.
far around. Where's this? Like, they don't have scans. Both teams don't have scans, but this is great for Optic. They're going to get the jump in, and, well, actually, no, it's the other way around. Arteezy, he actually gets initiating in. Samel throws out the flag cannon, but the damage output way too high. Optic Gaming go through the EG cores. Arteezy going to be the next one on the list. Goes up for CCNC, but you'll set her up. Here comes Crit. A huge epicenter and fly! He actually hits him so hard with the Shadow Wave, but still, is it enough? Pycat stands his ground. Arteezy wants to do the work, but the Tombstone's already down. EG. I thought they had the initiation when S4 jumped in, then the follow-up Burrow Strike from Crit, but it still wasn't enough.
They killed CCNC immediately, but he bought back right away. You're fighting on enemy shrine. So he is, in fact, he's right back immediately. They almost killed him again, but there wasn't a sentry down. Fly had to swap the ward to sentry in his inventory, and it just took too long. He lived with 100 HP.
Oh boy, Optic. I think with that as the game, they're going to take mid easily. And they can just take the tier 4 towers with no heroes from EG alive apart from the SK. He cannot defend this. Optic, okay, they're being real safe. They're going for the Megas first. Okay, the calls also come out. And just go for the tier 4 towers. They obviously do not have buyback. It's on cooldown for 30 more seconds. Crit reveals himself with a double Burrow Strike. Just trying to buy time for S4 to come back to the world of the living. Can Crit and S4 actually do it again? The Burrow Strike again, Crit. Just keep the creep wave out. Optic take the Megas. And they're going to retreat. They're going to give EG a potential chance to come back in this game. And I'm saying that very, very loosely.
It was big as well. Peter also died and bought back, but that meant he not only dropped the tomb, but died and had another tomb. So it's just so hard for EG to fight into that. Sumail, so aggressive with his positioning, but at the same time, you just run out of damage once Flak goes down. It's a gyrocopter. You get 9 attacks. That's pretty much it.
This draft was meant to work for EG. Like, it was meant to be the Chaos Knight who was the unstoppable one. How the hell has it gone so wrong for them so many times that Optic are now 14k ahead and mega creeped EG?
It's a lack. I think Optic better understood the game state. I mean, look at their optimization and their items. Like the Vlad's Crimson Solar on Beast. PPD is running around with Urn and a casual Buckler because obviously he's not exactly the richest member of his team. Skyrath with 4 Sags, Yules, Lina getting the Shivas. I mean, they have so much control of armor that, yeah, you're able to burst them down, but when you're fighting on the enemy side of the map and they can buy back, that was a one-team fight from EG, but Lina and Undying were immediately back in the fight. They effectively had 2 Aegises in that team fight.
Yeah.
EG didn't have the luxury of a single one.
And this time around, like, it's going to be Pycat who's got the extra life, and he's got the Refresher Orb, so he'd be very happy just to BKB at the beginning of the fight, die, then put the Refresher Shard in and just go nuts.
It's a hard game now, of course. Mega creeps up. You're going to need a Rapier on the Gyrocopter, most likely, to even have a chance.
They're going to harass in their base him at a global concussive shots from the Skyrath Mage. Slow it down, Sumail. Pycat making the most of the creep wave that's his buffer. They know they have to start working through this creep wave. Arteezy doing the best he can. Pull the Demon Edge for any kind of damage you can get, but beyond your effect onto the Luna. Attack at your own peril. Crit does it with the Burrow Strike forward. They want to burn through the BKB, but then again, first Tombstone goes to work. Sumail with a flat cannon, doing some decent clearance, but he can't really survive this. They finally bring down the Tombstone. Arteezy, he goes for Reality Rip, but then Optic just turn up the heat. They bring down Arteezy because he doesn't have the BKB anymore. Into the base, Crick and Burrow Strike forward. Remember, Luna still got the Aegis Immortal. The creep wave is doing everything they need to do against the Ancient. It's over. Optic take game 1 against Evil Geniuses, and this is elimination law bracket round 2 as well.
I think Optic had a better read on the game. They played faster, more of a unit, just more split-second decision-making. It felt like they were more prepared for those big game-changing engagements. I thought their item choice was better. Future games, Skyrath, been picked so many times. Think of it like a Zeus. Buy a pipe against it. If you don't have one up, his damage output, I want to see the numbers real fast, but I'm sure they were just off the chain. Off the chart, rather.
Damage output for Skyrath Mage was 28,000.
Yeah, he was 4K behind CCNC's Luna, all right? You can't just let this hero have a free reign in teamfights with... I don't know. What a game, though.
Yeah.
There's too much to talk about. I want to let the panel handle it, because like, I would go on for a while.
Well, the draft was good. Optic are the winners, and panel, you get your wish. Please talk for Kyle.
Oh, and talk we will, because that game was a lot of fun to watch, and it was one of the games that made me realize that 3 tips per person probably is not enough. Especially not in this matchup. It was a good one. A lot of exciting matchups here with Trent, ODPixel, and Bulldog. Trent, I'm going to go to you first. What did you make of this game?
Things were looking a little dicey there, honestly, for Optic. I thought through like that mid game, I felt a lot of the engagements, they actually had very good vision from EG, right? Like all these like high ground observer sentry combos. We were relying on the dual Shadowblade initiations, and I kind of thought they were going to end up losing that game because it felt like they were going into these fights little bit too dangerous. But Arteezy, like, I think they were transitioning into Arteezy becoming this like mega core unkillable CK, but that pickoff up top really changed kind of like the face of this game, and from there it was all Optic.
Yeah, and that happened more than once, that Arteezy got picked off a few times, and this is something that you really don't want to happen. And yeah, this team fight, this is a vision. We saw this twice happen. You have great vision here from Crit, really making them be able to fight this. Without that ward, this will be very different.
And Fly's positioning has been so crucial in these fights. He's been, like, he's the best Dazzle out there at the moment, for sure.
Yeah, because he's probably
Helps
the
when
only
no one else
Dazzle.
makes it.
That's
Yeah.
also true, yes. Fair enough.
No, I think, yeah, despite the loss, the support play from EG was actually pretty good. We saw Crip numerous times get sort of 3-man Burrow Strike epicenters. You know, he was doing his best really to keep the team in the game, but at the end of the day, it was just the fact that pretty much from 20 minutes onwards, Optic were playing with this Lina and Luna that were just, you know, just a step ahead of the CK and Gyro, and EG just never caught back up to the pace of the Pycat Luna that we've seen so many times. You know, this guy on his Luna, I mean, you say Fly one of the best Dazzles, I say Pycat definitely one of the best Lunas in the game at the moment.
We were all going on, though, about this Undying. I mean,
Yeah.
come on, down. Like, the soul rifts from Pito, it's a catch-22. He's sitting in the back line to throwing out never-ending soul rips, just like healing people up, saving Xayah a couple times, keeping that massive damage from the little squishy Skywrath mage going. And if you do kill him, he just drops a second tomb. Like, look how impactful in this fight those zombies were.
Yeah. It was a crazy game. Very back and forth in terms of fights. But in the end, Optic was the one to actually reach buildings of Evil Geniuses. Well, Evil Geniuses, when they want to fight, they had to get back to base because they would have been too bruised to do anything off the back of that.
Yeah, and CCNC played pretty well this game, I think. He even managed to solo kill the king himself in the middle lane. Understandable though, because CCNC watches my stream a lot, so he probably
Of course.
learned that from me. But yeah, really good play by him, and Sumail not being super impactful here, honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sort of
he
his
was
damage
low.
output was massive reduced, as you sort of said, the Gyro already sort of being behind, and at the same time having the Crimson Guard and Optic. He'd come in with the flak, but it would barely tickle sort of the lineup of Optic.
How much of that is him being on a gyrocopter mid rather than a bit more of a playmaker mid?
I think we all want to see him more of a playmaker. They kind of, it's not really what we expect from Sumail. We want that cop or maybe a Storm or something like that that can make more plays, and hopefully they will go back to this, because right now how they're playing is Esper is that team fighter, and Arteezy is that hard carry usually, and then you put Sumail on something in middle, and not a gyro. Not a huge fan of that.
Yeah, I guess just feeling maybe a little bit pressured there in terms of like the Undying counter. Like, it was picked before, but it kind of still felt good enough that, like, yeah, we can keep this as our mid hero and go like full out on the carry. Like, your utility in the fight theoretically as an Undying in that, or as a gyro in that game, could be to actually hit the tombstone and have a decent impact while also relying on someone else to be the hard carry.
Yeah, we saw that in the beginning. It was really good, but then once you hit level 15 on Undying, you got 2 tombstones, and then you can't kill it anymore. So
The laning stage that we had at the start, it was a fairly even one. And I thought, you know, this is going great for the CK. And then some rotations came in that didn't seem to make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think they rotated like up into the top lane too,
Yeah.
where they had like abandoned bottom, and it was like 3-3 versus Crit. And at that point, 3-3 had the medallion, and he just started snowballing from there. He's just like, I'm taking half your HP with a single swing of the axes.
that was a good pickup, and we saw that the Dazzle, we didn't really talk about it, the sustain he gave to that lane in CK, he did really well in that lane, and he got more from than he should. But then, even though they were doing well in killing bottom, they decided to rotate top, and that didn't lead to any good things really. So that was not the ideal situation.
Yeah, can maybe credit that a little bit in terms of like decent vision there from Optic and a good read from Pycat. You know, he spots this Dazzle kind of like wandering up towards him around the 8 minutes, and he's like, yeah, I'm not going to go back to my lane. He just cuts down through the middle. He's like, probably something fishy going on up there, and that's when a lot of those rotations kind of just like fizzled out for them.
Yeah. So, MVP time. Who do you give it to? Owen?
Odie?
I'm gonna let you
Don't
answer.
put the pressure on me.
Yeah, the pressure on you.
I mean,
you were the one thinking that EG was going to take this.
I was.
You were proven wrong.
Yeah, you were wrong.
And who
Always
made
so
sure that
hard.
you was... Who do you
Always so
blame
hard.
for being wrong?
Wait, well, I mean, as I keep going on about him, I probably could just go with
Yeah.
Pycat.
Pycat Luna?
I mean, on the Luna, I really feel this guy, when you put him on it, he will win you the game. The Luna or the Morphling, Optic fans, every time they see him on one of these two heroes, from the off, from the draft, they're going to be feeling very comfortable. They're going to be like, right, this guy, as long as the team can get in the farm, and each and every time PPD and the boys always do that. You know, this obviously was a team effort, but for me, his farm and the way that he played and moved around.
Look at that hero damage. That looks
Yeah.
like a green wall.
44,000. You're not wrong about
That's
that.
what I
Is.
see, you know.
Yeah, that's just Pycat things on his Luna.
Yeah, I want to see what Cal was talking about. We want to see the Skywrath damage because we see it a lot and it does so much damage. You got that level, you got Ags and level 15 and you just throw out 3 arcane bolts every time. And yeah, I want to see that, honestly.
Well, we already saw
Cyborg.
the scoreboard earlier, so can't say that
Oh,
anymore.
wow. By the way,
I missed it.
All right. Well, question though. Was this outplay or outdraft? I mean, we talk a lot about these two teams, about them being rivals, and there's a lot, an emotional at stake here for these two teams. Obviously, fighting for the best, perhaps in NA as well. Obviously, VGJ Storm has a say in that as well. But what do you think, seeing these two teams match up?
Mainly outplay, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think Optic
just a
I
better
don't think
team?
the draft was sort of sure, you could maybe argue it was favored, but CK does have its strengths against Lunas. But the way it was played, as I say, he was constantly behind. Everything sort of happened a step too slow for Arteezy. He gets to level 20 through the Magic immunity. A fair few minutes and fair few team fights after the BKB was already there, so Pycat had already done a lot with that. Pycat gets the evasion with the butterfly, and Arteezy, I don't know if he even finished the MKB by the end of the game, but he was always sort of an item, a step behind, because EG were having to fight as 5. They were getting starved on experience because of the way that Optic played as a team. So for me, it was the outplay, really.
Yeah, and at the
honestly.
same time, we've seen this Luna before, and it hasn't worked out. You can draft this stuff, but it doesn't always look this good, and they just played well around it. They gave them the space they needed. So, I
Yeah,
would
and to
agree.
be fair, everything looks good against EG right now. It's not that hard to make it look.
Oh, right.
Work.
With that, we're going to take a short break. And when we're back, it is time for the second game of Optic versus Evil Geniuses.